Hey everybody. So I started as I mentioned in the last video, I was going to add a handle and also some a couple of hinges back here to be able to lift the lid off for easier meat, placement, and just so I don't have to lift the lid all the way off, try and realign it and all that stuff. So what I did was I went ahead and lined up the lid to where it needed to be. If you remember in the previous video, I went ahead and removed the top handle, which is right there, and then I put a strap around this to lock the lid in place so it wouldn't move on me, and also to help me kind of gauge where the center line is of the lid for placement. So the handle's pretty much done. It works good. I mean, it's holding. So I mean, I'm lifting up the drum here. And basically all it is some 16 gauge. I got some 16 gauge sheet metal. Laid out the pattern on some cardboard, which is right here. Laid out the pattern on the cardboard. And then for the handle, the actual wooden part of the handle here, it's the 3/8 inch rod, some leftover 3/8 inch rod that I used for the wheels down there that I had laying around. And then just some wooden dowel rod with 3/8 inch hole cut through the center of it. Real simple stuff to do. The hardest part of this whole portion was actually cutting out the sheet metal. I don't have a bandsaw to cut sheet metal, so I used my jigsaw, and it kind of got I don't know how you would say it, but it was kind of tough. That was probably about the toughest part of it. So then once I got it all cut down and shaped properly on my little bench grinder and the angle grinder, I went ahead and marked out where it was going to be placed, and then cleaned off the porcelain coating. I actually found a new way of, not a new way, but I found a way to get rid of this porcelain coating on the lid, and I'll show you that here in a minute. So I went ahead and actually got down to bare metal on the lid, not just polished up porcelain coating. So the welds weren't great on the handle. It's been a while since I've messed with the welder, so I was a little out of practice, but it is holding, and I'll fill it in and cover it up with my good old hiding putty, I like to call it. So did the same thing with the hinges. And as the welds got a little bit better as I went throughout the day. They're holding, that's all that matters. Again, I'll beautify them later. These things are the drums themselves are supposed to be ugly, so. But it's holding up. So, and then the part I'm going to show you here is how I did how I'm going to do the top. These lines here is where the top portion of the hinge is going to sit. So I'm going to show you how I chip out that porcelain coating and then get down to bare metal. So now, as far as laying out the cardboard, as you can see, I just had cardboard here, and then I transferred the template over to the sheet metal, and then just used a jigsaw. I had to use straight edges with a little bit of curves, and then basically grind down the rest of the metal to get the actual shapes. But the tool I used is I call it a profiler. Not sure if that's the actual name of it. Basically all it is it's got a bunch of these little pins. Probably know what I'm talking about, or seen them before, or even have one. And all I did was I just took it and you push up against whatever profile you need to get. So then you set this down on the cardboard, and just like right here, and then you trace it out. So pretty simple. Here's the two top hinges. Did the same thing with the lid. To straighten it out, just go like that, and then all I did for the two top hinges, it's kind of hard to do with one hand. but you get the idea. So then that gave me this template here, which then I laid that out onto the sheet metal, and then shaped it out. So now I have my two hinges, or two upper portions of the hinges, and they're gonna fit just like that. One there, up against that, like so, and one on this side, like so. All right, so that's how I got the metal shapes. As far as everything else, just continuing on. I haven't removed the wheels yet, nothing along those lines. Kind of in a rush to get this done, kind of like always. I got a family get together this weekend, so I gotta get this thing back up and running. Tonight's the last night I got to work on it. So let me go ahead and get the camera set up, and I'll show you how I did how to get through this porcelain coating here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get past this porcelain coating, and I went ahead and marked my line. And you want to do this, you want to go ahead and mark your line where you need to weld, so then that way you can remove the least amount possible. Just give yourself enough room to be able to weld. Obviously, if you're sitting there welding and it goes over, it's just going to melt the porcelain coating. But this gives you a good ground, good metal to metal contact, depending on your welding abilities. First things first is get a Dremel with a cutoff wheel. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically just put a little slice. You're not going to go all the way through the lid, or try not to anyways. You want to just give it a little bit of a slice into that porcelain coating, and what that's going to do is it's kind of like a relief cut. So as you're in the next step, you'll see what happens. If done right, it should leave a nice straight line of just bare metal. You might have a little bit of residual porcelain or ceramic coating, whatever this stuff is. This stuff is good coating, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna go ahead and knock this out, and we'll give it a try. Seemed to work good on the front when I was doing the handle, so now I want to record it to let you guys see it. Make sure you're wearing eye protection, just in case the disc breaks, and they do fly apart. Alright, so that's the first step. Hopefully we went deep enough. Feels like it. We'll see what happens. Okay, next step is, if you got a chisel, it probably works just as well, if not better. I don't have a chisel set, so I'm using my center punch. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sit here and hit this right down the center here of the holes, or of the lines, and hopefully the impact of the center punch will bust that porcelain or ceramic coating off. And as you can see, it chipped it away along that line. Again, wear safety glasses because the porcelain coating does go flying. I'm actually getting hit in the face with it. Luckily I got glasses on. So there's the majority of the porcelain coating is off. Just from that little bit. Another way you can do it is using a, I got my little welder's hammer. And you can sit there and chip away at it. It's got a little chisel point on the end of it. You can do it that way too. It's basically the impact that chips it away. So once you get it down to this point, you can grab your angle grinder or whatever you like to use to sand. I like the angle grinder because it's quick, simple. I'll probably go over a little bit, probably buff some of the outlying area there from the radius of the angle grinder, but that's fine. The key point is to get down to bare metal on this to help with the welding. All right, so let me get the angle grinder and we'll see what we can do as far as cleaning this up. Okay, so the what I'm using on this is a ceramic flap disc, exactly like the blue one I had earlier in the previous video. This is a 60 grit. I saw a 40 grit and a 60 grit, so I went ahead and grabbed the 60 grit just to be. It's still pretty aggressive, but it's not too aggressive. So especially at 10,000 RPMs, at which these angle grinders, spin at. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it. I already hit it a little bit to make sure this would work, and to make sure I got a good camera angle as far as you can see where the residual porcelain coating is, and then where the bare metal is at. The little bright spot right there is the bare metal. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this section off, and we'll go from there. Kind of a hard angle to get at, because I'm trying not to hit the ledge right here, so I'll have to redo the putty there. I already got a couple of spots from where I was sanding down the welds on the handle. I got to fill in and repair, so I'm trying to prevent that here. Okay, so I think that's about as far down as I'm going to get with the angle grinder. So I'm going to hit this up with I'll see what else I got to get on that. Okay, so what I used was this little carbide tip here. Just goes into a regular drill. I got this yesterday at Lowe's to try and help me clean up some of the welds down here on the hinges and the handle and stuff. It worked pretty well. All I did was just basically run it around. It's not getting it quite as shiny, but it is getting down to bare metal. So that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out the other side, and we'll get ready for welding. Okay, so I got this all rigged up now, ready for welding. And basically all I got here is I got a, it's called a welder's clamp. Actually, I found it at Lowe's. Works out really well. I made this little jig here for spacing. Basically just a 2x4 scrap with some, I think it's 5/8, maybe even 3/4 inch MDF that I had laying around in the garage. I cut a couple of strips off, glued them to the 2x4, and I gave you my spacing here. So then what I did, and I also used this when I did the lower portion of the hinges, so, or of the hinge. I used this, got it positioned right, and then did a couple of tacks, and then removed the wood, and then finished off the welds. So, and it's basically what I did here is I put that back in there, and then on the outside of each of the bottom hinge supports, I put some nylon washers, and basically I put that in there to help with friction, you know, opening up the lid and stuff like that. So is it required? Probably not. So I'm going for I don't know, aesthetics, I guess. And then I got that all positioned. It's kind of a two-hand job, but I got that all positioned and everything lines up right where I need it to be in the bare metal that we just did on the lid. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack this in and go from there and finish welding it. So, and before I go ahead and do this weld, I want to show you, I just thought of this, the clamp actually makes for a good ground point also for the MIG welder. So that's the way I did it yesterday, or when I did the lower hinges and the handle. It actually worked really well instead of trying to clamp the ground onto this where you're trying to weld, all that stuff. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and get a filter on this camera and see if that works. Then that way you guys can see the welding going on. Okay, well, the filter didn't quite work the way I thought it would. I'll have to mess around with that and do some experimenting. But I went ahead and did 3 tacks on this side and about 3 or 4 tacks on this other side here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video and finish off both welds on both hinges, or you know, upper hinge halves, and we'll be back. Okay, so got the smoker back down on the ground and finished up the hinge, the welding. They're not the best. I'm gonna have to dress them up a little bit, but they hold. That's the important part. And also went ahead and drilled the holes. Got the nylon spacers in there, and everything looks to be holding good. So let's see how this works. And it actually holds very well, just like that. I could tighten those up, make it a little bit tighter, but for the most part, I like how it turned out. Now the next step really is to put some type of bracket across the back here, like so. And that'll, one, stiffen it up this way so these don't flex. Of course, they're on there pretty solid right now. But also when I bring it back and I open it, it'll give something for the lid to rest on, like so. So I'll make it a little bit longer to catch the top hinges, so it doesn't go back that far. So, and then all I need to do is just clean up where the welding splatter is and get a coat of primer on it. So that'll be in the next video. I think this video is going to be long enough, doing the hinge and the handle. So I'm gonna get this bracket put on, and next step will be cleaning it up and getting it primed. Okay, so I went ahead and did the bracket like I said I was. Pretty simple. Got a little bit of an overhang there, right here, and basically it just catches the upper hinge support. So welds aren't the best, but you know what? I don't care. It's just a matter of practice. So if you know how to weld, you can probably do a hell of a lot better job than me. But like I said earlier, it doesn't matter to me as long as it holds, and it's holding pretty good. So boom, turned out pretty good. I think I might have went a little bit too far back on how far, you know, the lid goes back, but that's fine. I can reach it and close the lid. So very pleased with it. So that's the end of this video. So the next video will be prepping and painting, and that's probably I'm probably gonna end up just priming it, getting this bare metal taken care of, and then I got to use it this weekend. So a good paint job will come later. So all right, enjoy, and do me a favor, share the video, add it to your favorite barbecue websites, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. Feel free to share it, and make comments below. Thanks.